Dave and Lucy have been in business for a long time. They have a great business and a great team. After years of hard work, they wanted to increase their property portfolio with their dream home. But being self-employed, they found their bank's lending criteria very restrictive. They saw Toowoomba's Edge Lending, the business lending experts. Edge Lending thinks outside the box and were able to secure a facility for Dave and Lucy to purchase the property. Edge Lending, making business lending easier.
Hi everyone, Scott from Edge, Specialist Advice Network. I hope you're well. Hey, today we're doing another installment of What the Numbers Say, and we're always using Visual Capitalist. You should go online and subscribe to them. They are excellent. Today we're looking at the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. So countries that have put money aside and have a big investment fund, effectively. The word sovereign meaning for their citizens, for the benefit of their nation. So that means that if they had investments and they were getting a dividend or something, that might flow through and provide things for infrastructure. Maybe they don't pay for electricity. Maybe that everything, they'll build a new port, something that is for the citizens or the country and benefit in that fashion. All right, let's have a look. Okay, what do we got here? The world's largest sovereign wealth funds. Now, some of these are not going to surprise. Some of these might surprise, and it's probably more surprising who's not there. So what have we got? We've got about 10 here, right? Let's have a look. Okay, Hong Kong, $500 billion, makes a lot of sense. So I'd be curious to know whether the UK believe that that's part theirs because they used to really run Hong Kong, or it's really China, but it's still been sectioned off under its own numbers. Okay, we've got over here Qatar. Okay, another half a trillion. Okay, great. Indonesia, that might surprise a lot of people. When you look at the average person, net wealth in Indonesia, it is quite low. And you would be very surprised to know that they've got quite a large sovereign wealth fund, one of the largest. So watch this space. That shows that they have been forward thinking in some fashion, and it shows that they actually do want to manage things well, and they do want to have big assets and not have just a whole lot of debt in their country like other Western countries. Okay, Singapore, 800 billion. Saudi Arabia, 925 billion, so nearly $1 trillion. All right, so Saudi Arabia, most of that's going to be oil. Most of the money that they make is from oil, and it's not oil sitting in the sovereign wealth fund. It'll be a lot of different stuff. It'll be all sorts of things. There'll be a lot of precious metals, a lot of stocks, a lot of US treasuries. There would probably be some oil and some things, and they probably own vast tracts of land in that sovereign wealth fund. You wouldn't know. It'd be very, very interesting. But these oil-related countries, they're at least been smart enough at some stage to make a sovereign wealth fund so that their citizens don't have to get taxed to death to pay for infrastructure. Okay, Kuwait, surprising, isn't it? $1 trillion. Kuwait, remember Kuwaiti oil? Okay, UAE, another $1 trillion. Okay, cool. All right, so that's why these countries are super wealthy. They're smart. They invest their money. They invest the profits they make from selling commodities around the world, and then they use those dividends to a nation build. That's the idea of it. Okay, we've got two for China here. We've got a 1.1 trillion and a 1.3 trillion. Now, one's in China Investment Corporation. The other one's in Safe Investment Company. I'm not sure why that is, but if you piece those together, it's 2.4 trillion. And if you add in Hong Kong, you're basically getting to 3 trillion. So that would make China in control of the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world by itself. China, guys, watch out. Like, for all of the misinformation we've been told about China for the last 20 or 30 years at our schools and at our universities and in our media, they've got great numbers, right? They've got great numbers. And then we've got Norway over here as well. Norway, interesting, right? A lot of oil revenue wealth that's been reinvested for the people. So I don't know, guys. Look, for those of us in Australia, or if for some of my clients in Canada and the US, sovereign wealth fund to speak of? Not really. We just we don't do that. We don't have our government push money away for the benefit of the citizens. They do a different thing where they just borrow the money and then tax us all to repay it, because then you don't have to account for it. Everyone, I hear people in Australia going, Scott, no, the future fund. That's what the future fund is. No, it is not. This is a big misconception. The future fund is not, in Australia, the future fund is not a sovereign wealth fund. It is the defined benefit pensions of the federal government employees. It is the federal government superannuation fund. It is not a sovereign wealth fund. It is not there for infrastructure building for the people. It is only there to make investments to pay for the federal government employees. So that's not just the politicians, that's also all the staff. But that is for them, not us. So anyway, guys, I thought this was interesting. Hey, if you don't see your country there, maybe write to your local member saying, hey, why don't you table a good idea? And maybe we should all have a sovereign wealth fund. Maybe we can start one for the good of the country. And maybe that way you won't, in the future, you won't have to tax the bejesus out of everyone to pay for infrastructure. You'll just take it from dividends and you'll reinvest it back into the country. What a crazy idea. All right, that's enough from me, guys. Remember, life is a family sport. Give yours an edge. See ya.
Phil owned an established business and it was really starting to grow. But he was using credit cards as an overdraft, had overdue accounts from suppliers, as well as a tax debt with the ATO. He needed to consolidate this debt and free up working capital. He saw Toowoomba's Edge Lending, who helped him replace these high-interest debts with one simple facility with lower repayments. Edge Lending Solutions, helping established businesses to grow.